There are boundaries we were never meant to cross. Doors that once opened never quite close again on the tranquility of our ignorance. From the radio cry sent from the stars to footprints stopping dead in the snow, here are 5 rifts in reality. We live in a bubble of certainty. We believe history is a straight line, that nature obeys immutable laws, and that we are alone in listening to the noise of the universe. But sometimes the bubble cracks. What you are about to see today are not simple riddles. They are anomalies. Moments where the script of reality seemed to stutter. From the depths of the Atlantic Ocean to the frozen steppes of the Urals, passing through the dusty archives of a forgotten library, we are going to explore instances where science fell silent. Prepare to dive into cases where every rational explanation collapses, where experts lower their eyes and whisper, "We don't know." These stories will not leave you easily. They will settle in a corner of your mind, that shadowy zone where unanswered questions dwell. Welcome to the Archives of Silence. Number 5. The Cry from Sagittarius. The WOW signal. It all begins with waiting. Imagine the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio. A giant metal ear turned toward the sky, listening to the static crackle of the universe. Day after day, nothing but cosmic white noise. But on August 15th, 1977, at 11:16 p.m., the universe spoke. For exactly 72 seconds, a narrow-band radio signal, 30 times more intense than the ambient background noise, struck the Earth. It came from the constellation Sagittarius, near the star group M55, 120 light-years away. Jerry Amon, the astronomer on duty, saw the alphanumeric sequence print out on the continuous paper, 6EQUJ5. Stunned, he circled the code in red pen and wrote a single word in the margin. Wow. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a satellite. It wasn't a comet. The frequency of 1420 megahertz is that of neutral hydrogen, the most common element in the universe. It is the universal frequency that any technological intelligence would use to say, "We are here." A sort of cosmic phone number. The signal bore all the hallmarks of an artificial transmission. Narrowband, intensity rising and falling with the rotation of the telescope, confirmed extraterrestrial origin. But here is what turns fascination into dread. The signal never repeated. Never. We have listened to that region of the sky thousands of times since 1977. Nothing. Just the abyssal silence of space. Was it a beacon that swept across Earth by chance? A final cry from a dying civilization launched 120 years ago? Or something that, after detecting us, decided to go quiet? Even more disturbing, if it was an intentional message, why only once? Humans send repeated signals. Any logical civilization would do the same. Unless the message was, "We have seen you. Stay quiet." The WOW signal is not a discovery. It is a question that has haunted humanity for 47 years. Number 4. The Set Table. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse, December 1900. Off the west coast of Scotland, the Flannan Isles are black rocks battered by the furious Atlantic. 3 experienced lighthouse keepers live there in rotation: James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur. Solid men, accustomed to isolation and storms. On December 26th, when the relief ship arrives, the lighthouse is dark. No one answers the calls, no sign of life. Upon entering, the rescue team discovers a scene that chills the blood with its disturbing normality. The kitchen table is set for dinner. The beds are unmade. The lamps are cleaned and full of oil. The clocks have stopped. Everything is in order, almost peaceful, except that 3 men have vanished without a trace. But it is the logbook that turns this mystery into a nightmare. The final entries describe a terrifying storm, apocalyptic winds strong enough to tear off skin, monstrous waves. The keepers mention that they are praying to God, that one of them is weeping. The problem? Weather records from all nearby stations formally confirm that the sea was calm those nights. There was no storm. The sky was clear. The final message, scrawled on December 15th, simply says, "Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all." Then nothing. 11 days of silence before the discovery. Investigators checked everything. No bodies in the ocean, no suspicious boats, no signs of struggle. The oilskins, raincoats, were missing for 2 of the 3 men, suggesting a hasty exit. But why go out in calm weather? Did they hallucinate a collective storm? Were they in the grip of a shared madness? Or was the storm something other than wind and rain? Something that meteorological instruments cannot measure. 3 men, 1 island, an intact lighthouse, and a silence that has lasted for 124 years. The Flannan Isles keep their secret, lost somewhere between the sea and the sky. Number 3. The Encyclopedia of the Impossible, the Voynich Manuscript. Imagine a 240-page book written about 600 years ago. A book that the greatest minds in global cryptography, those who broke the Nazi Enigma code, have never been able to decipher. The Voynich Manuscript is the Everest of linguists. Discovered in 1912 in an Italian Jesuit library, it bears the name of the antiquarian who bought it. But its origins remain opaque. Carbon-14 dating places the parchment between 1404 and 1438. The ink is consistent with this period. The content is hallucinating. Drawings of plants that exist nowhere on Earth. Not distorted variants, no. Completely unknown species. Astronomical diagrams that correspond to no known celestial map. Illustrations of naked women bathing in interconnected green tubes like a biological plumbing system. And then there is the writing, about 170,000 characters in an unknown alphabet of about 25 signs. The writing is fluid, without crossed-out words, without hesitation. The author was not searching for their words. They knew them perfectly. Statistical analysis reveals a coherent linguistic structure, repetition of patterns, word distribution, apparent grammatical structure. It is not random scribbling, it is something that resembles a language. But which one? Theories abound. Is it an alchemist's herbal coded to protect his secrets? An elaborate hoax by a brilliant Renaissance forger? An artificial language constructed from scratch? Or a more disturbing hypothesis, a case of written glossolalia, the transcription of a divine language received in a trance? Some cryptographers believe they have found solutions, but none withstand complete analysis. Every decipherment collapses after a few pages. The Voynich Manuscript is a perfect mirror. We see in it what we want to see. Botanists see plants, astronomers see stars, mystics see divine messages. But the book itself never yields an answer. It remains there in the Yale Library, impenetrable, silent, defying 6 centuries of human scrutiny. Number 2. Before history. Göbekli Tepe. We were always taught a clear timeline. First agriculture, then settlement, then complex social organization, and finally religion and great monuments. It was an indisputable historical truth, until the discovery of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey in 1994. Here, 12,000 years ago, 6,000 years before Stonehenge, 7,000 years before the pyramids of Egypt, at the very dawn of human civilization, nomadic hunter-gatherers erected 20-ton limestone pillars carved with astounding artistic finesse. It is impossible, according to our historical model. These people were supposed to live in caves, hunt mammoths, and survive day to day. They had no wheel, no metal, no beasts of burden, no writing, nor even permanent villages. Yet they built humanity's first monumental temple. The T-shaped pillars represent stylized human figures. They are engraved with lions, scorpions, foxes, vultures, and snakes in enigmatic scenes. The precision of the work rivals much later works. The site includes at least 20 circles of stone, of which only 5% have been excavated. The scale of the project is colossal. Thousands of hours of collective labor, complex social organization, a shared architectural vision. But here is what upends everything. No trace of permanent habitation has been found at Göbekli Tepe. It was not a city, It was solely a ritual center. People came from afar to build, celebrate, and leave. Göbekli Tepe inverts our understanding of history. We thought religion was a product of civilization. But here it is the need to touch the divine that created civilization. They built the temple first, and then, to feed the hundreds of workers required, they had to invent organized agriculture. Mind preceded matter. The sacred preceded the profane. Our ancestors did not build temples because they were civilized. They became civilized so they could build temples. Number 1. The Unknown Force, Dyatlov Pass, February 1959. 9 experienced hikers in the Ural Mountains of the USSR. They are young, strong, trained. Their diaries and photographs breathe the joy of adventure. They are students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, led by Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old. On the night of February 1st to 2nd, they pitch their tent on the snowy slopes of Mount Kholat-Syakhl. Then something happens. Something so terrifying that they slash their tent from the inside with knives and bare hands to escape. They run into the freezing night at minus 30 degrees Celsius, without shoes, some in their underwear. Mountain experts abandoning their only shelter. The bodies are found scattered within a 1-kilometer radius. Some died of hypothermia near a fire they managed to light, but others show catastrophic internal injuries. Fractured skulls, multiple broken ribs, massive chest trauma. The force required is equivalent to a high-speed car crash. Yet no trace of external impact, no major bruising, no defensive broken bones. As if they had been crushed by internal pressure or a shockwave. Lyudmila Dubinina is missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her facial skull. Ripped out, not decomposed. Some clothes contain abnormally high levels of radiation. The Soviet investigation lasts 3 months. Authorities question everyone, analyze everything. Then suddenly the case is closed. The final report? Death caused by a compelling natural force. What natural force makes winter survival experts flee barefoot into the snow? What force crushes bodies from the inside without leaving external marks? Why traces of radiation? Avalanche? There was none. Secret military weapons? No evidence. Animal attack? Impossible with those specific injuries. Collective panic? Why slash the tent? 65 years later, the Dyatlov Pass keeps its secret. The 9 young people took the truth with them into the eternal snow of the Urals. 5 rifts. 5 moments where reality seemed to lose its coherence. A signal that never repeated. 3 men evaporated from an intact lighthouse. A book that defies 6 centuries of analysis. A temple built before the invention of civilization. 9 hikers killed by an unknown force. What unites these mysteries is not their age or their exoticism. It is something deeper. They resist any satisfactory explanation. Every rational theory possesses a fatal flaw. Every solution creates more questions than it solves. These stories remind us of an uncomfortable truth. Our understanding of the world is fragile. We have built elegant models of physics, history, and biology, but sometimes reality refuses to fit in our boxes. Perhaps these anomalies are not errors in our understanding. Perhaps they are clues, signals that the world is stranger, vaster, and more mysterious than our theories allow. Science progresses by solving riddles, but it also progresses by accepting that some questions may not yet have answers, or worse, that they never will. The archives of silence remain open,